Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 493, we are leaving Eldraine. That's right. I have, what is it, three? Three more Eldraine decks left to go, and they are awaiting pieces. So, in the interim, we're going to start knocking out some of the ones from years past that I haven't done yet. So, let's talk about Kaysa. Now, there have been years ago, before we had a legendary spider, I had Kaysa, I believe, if I remember correctly, as the spider commander. And then we got one spider commander and it turned into that. Then we got another spider. Anyway, it seemed like every time I chose a deck for Kaysa and built around, she got bumped. So, as it turns out, of course, you wouldn't know it here, but she is of course, 5 mana, 2/3, all green creatures you control get 1/1. So she is, in fact, a 3/4 because she does work on herself. But she is an elf druid, which is kind of weird because nowadays elf druids somehow involve mana. But that was kind of the direction I went with it, simply because, well, I'll show you the first card that popped in my mind was the Gilt-Leaf Archdruid. Play a druid, draw a card. That's not bad. There's a lot of elf druids. And, you tap seven druids to to steal all of somebody's lands. I mean, yeah, I don't, it's the broken giggles. But anyway, so let's look at some elf druids, shall we? We have, well, hold on. Before we get into that, we'll just do it when we get there. Elf druids that you're probably familiar with: Llanowar Elf, Elvish Mystic, Boreal Druid, Paradise Druid. This joker was everywhere in the MC. Incubation Druid, Druid of the Cowl. Yeah, we're wanting those druids, right? Well, we're putting more of a value on the creature type, both of those creature types, than we do the efficiency of a 2-mana. Yeah, it's a 1/3, but even I'm running the Woodland Mystic. Arbor Elf, is going to untap that for us. Devoted Druid, Seeker of Skybreak. But then we've got the three really big druids. Okay? We got Elf Mom, Marwyn the Nurturer. Another elf enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on her, and you add an amount of green mana. You tap it to add an amount of green mana equal to her power. +1 counter. We might do something with that later. But for right now, let's look at, oh gosh, this is going to tap for a boatload of mana. You know what? So will Priest of Titania. This will tap for just an obscene amount of mana because it's for each elf in play. Elvish Archdruid is kind of the same way, only, they'll get +1 too. And the reason why those three particularly matter is there's a equipment called Umbral Mantle, and I'm sure y'all are familiar with this. You 3D cast 0 to equip. An equipped creature has 3 untap. This creature gets +2/+2 to end of turn. So, as long as one of those 3 creatures there are producing more than 3 mana, 4 or more, you can tap it for the 4, use 3 of it to untap it, and give it +2/+2, and net a floating green. So you will have infinite green mana and an infinitely large creature. So, no, I didn't put the Helix Pinnacle in here to just dump all that red mana, or all the green mana in. It's not about having the infinite mana. It's actually just about having mana. Because Ritual of Subdual is a great card. It is 6 mana, but it does have a cumulative upkeep of 2 colorless. So, 2 generic. All mana-producing lands produce colorless mana instead of their normal mana. So this is going to shut down everyone at the table, including yourself. But now, we have a whole lot of creatures that produce green mana, and that's all we really need is green mana. So, the Ritual of Subdual will keep everyone else in check. It will keep a lot of those board wipes off the board that elves are so scared of. A lot of the burn, a lot of the control, letting everybody play just their artifacts, you know, when they haven't planned on doing so, is kind of a thing in and of itself. So let's look at some other elf druids, shall we? We have the Pollen Bright Druid. Enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, or proliferate. Seems pretty good with the +1 counter. Evolution Sage. Landfall Proliferate. That would have been so much easier. Civic Wayfinder is an elf druid. Is also a warrior, hey. Spring Bloom Druid. Wild Wanderer. An Architect of the Untamed. Of course, this has got landfall, get an energy, and then you spend a gajillion energy to get 6/6 Beast. I wish they had the modern templating now that they had then, because now, even like on that Iron Crag thing, it's like 7 red. So, yeah. Anyway. I guess let's get to, before we get to the rest of the creatures, let's look at our non-creature ramp, right? Put a Moss Diamond in there mainly because, well, I've got it. It's on 2. It may be, this will probably get cut if I ever get another Findhorn Elf. Probably. Ronus' Monument. This is actually, it's not so much in there for the creatures costing less. It's in there for the play a creature, something gets +2/+2 and trample. That's super ballin'. Ranger's Path. And if you've never played Harvest Season, you tap your elves, tap your elves. If you've got 4 or 5 elves out there that's tapped because you played something else and then you just like, Harvest Season? Oh, I'm going to go get 5? That seems good, right? Now, we are playing only 1 non-basic land in Castle Garenbrig, just because I'm, trying to give it its fair shake. I used it like crazy. It's pre-release, and I spent the whole time, I was like, I'm never using this. And then every game I drew it, I used it. So, but the reason why that is, Primal Order, this does a ton of damage. During each player's upkeep, it deals damage equal to the amount of non-basic lands they got. So, this is a non-basic heavy format we've got ourselves in here. Okay, what else we got here? Elves. Let's go Elves. We have an Elvish Visionary, draws that card. We have a Titania's Chosen. Used to be great. Now it's just, okay. Since they've printed so many better versions. Timberwatch Elf can, totally surprise just out of nowhere. Well, though it shouldn't be a surprise because it's an on-board trick. Elvish Champion to pass out that Forest Walk. Well, green has, it was certainly the #1 color at the MC. And green's a really good color. Now, Azuri Renegade Leader does kind of work with the infinite mana thing that we talked about earlier. Yeah, it's a mana dump. I guess if you get those sequence of cards together, the universe is telling you you got an Alpha run. That's what I call his ability, because it's not overrun, because it's just for elves. It's +3/+3 and trample. That's overrun, but it's just elves, so it's Alpha run. That's what I've always called it. I don't know. I'm a dad though, so. Wildborn Preserver. We don't have humans in the deck, so hey, and this kind of tinkers with +1/+1 counters. Running a Nissa's Chosen. So you know what that means. Yep, there's a Nissa Ravane in the deck. Mainly just to, that +1 gain 2 life for each elf is no joke. If you're just that low, but we all know why she's in here. and that's to just, bring all the boys to the yard with her -7. Thorn-wheeled archer, reach and death touch is kind of an amazing thing. Jiraga Warcaller, I guess that's another way to spend that arbitrarily large amount of mana that we're going to have. Woodland Champion. Now, Taunting Elf, full stop, wins games. Just does. Yeah, Taunting Elf dies a whole bunch. But you know what? If you just got to get punched through a line, you send the Taunting Elf, you send everything you've got. Everybody has to block the Taunting Elf. Everything else gets through. Yay. Okay, I'll admit the Cultivator of Blades got me because I was looking through the binder and I saw the full art foil, and then I read it and I was like, well, it's an elf. And I was like, it's got Fabricate. That means +1/+1 counters. Okay. Of course, Lyssalana Huntmaster, elves are buy one, get one free. Ren's Run Packmaster. Of course, you champion elf, and then 3 mana to start making wolves, and your wolves have death touch, so I guess that's another mana sink. But you know what I think? Besides Izuri, one of the best mana sinks in mono green elves is? Dun, dun, dun. Chameleon Colossus. Because, hey, it's an elf. We're going to find it off of like the Sylvan Messenger and what have you, because, it's a really good card, and it's a mana dump. Gladeheart Cavalry, support 6. You can pass out 6 1/1 counters, Now, of course, it's got the die trigger, but spreading those counters out is kind of what we want to do because we've got those, the Proliferate Landfall guy, and then, for the first time ever, I'm playing Decree of Savagery. Now, yes, it is 9 mana, and that's probably, we're not going to cycle it for 6. I'm not planning on it because we are in a mana-heavy deck. We're going to produce some mana. I don't feel like that 9 is an issue. 9 in mono green is like everybody else's, 5? 6? But this would be, Immaculate Magistrate would be another super balling card for the deck because it's an elf and it does counters. I don't have any more, but man, yeah. But putting 4 counters on your team, Decree of Savagery is pretty neat. Now, let's look at some card draw. Got a Primordial Sage, which is not an elf, it's a spirit. It's kind of whatever. Green Sun, Zenith, and Court of Calling are going to go get that creature that you just got to have. Maybe it's the Azuri. Maybe it's the Priest. I don't know, depending on what happens. But 2 copies of it, they're the closest thing that we've got in green to just outright tutors. Tower of Fortunes. The 8 mana here is not that big a deal. Slate of Ancestry is probably one of the better elf card draw spells that there are, just simply because, there's a good chance we're not going to have a hand when we go to activate it. And then Praetor's Council, while this is not card draw, it is, you're regrowing your whole yard. You get to use those cards again. That's card advantage. I don't see any other way about it. Elvish Promenade, because, when you go to the prom, you got to have a date. So that's why all the elves bring a date. Get it? For each elf, you get another 1/1 elf. Anyway. Blanchwood Armor can just win games in mono green. Presence of Gond. Now, there's a, I've got the Presence of Gond in here. Tokens. I know there's some untapped things going on, whatever. But, yeah, we might be able to. Actually, hold on. If we put Presence of Gond, no, because that would because it takes 3 mana to untap it. If we use the Umber Mantle and the Presence of Gond on the same creature, and we can't tap it to make the mana and make anyway, it's a decent card, and in the right situation, it could be pretty good. Icon of Ancestry, of course, we're going to choose elves. They get +1. Okay. But then 3 and tap, you look at the top 3 cards of your library, you may reveal an elf, put the rest of them on the bottom. So that's kind of neat. Now, let's roll through quick removal real quick. Lignify, Reclamation Sage, Return to Nature, Prey Upon, Hurricane, and Needlestorm. Before we get into our last 3 cards, which are 3 sorceries. Overrun, of course, we're playing heavy creature green, so Triumph of the Hordes. Now, this is a big one, yeah, and it does legit win a ton of games. I mean, just giving them infect. But I feel like the riskiest sorcery, that's right, I'm calling Coat of Arms a sorcery, because you don't want to cast it and then just pass turn. Tribal decks are very popular, and just things that just are incidental. Like, how many times have you looked around and you're like, or you may not have noticed, there's 5 humans on the board. Everybody's got a dragon, or, well, she's got 3 angels and he's got 2 angels, and, just incidentally, we all lean toward favorite creature types without maybe even recognizing it. But that's why I say that Coat of Arms is a 5-mana sorcery, because I need a commanding board position. I need the Coat of Arms to come down like a crater hoof, and just everything gets the big and swing in for the win. That's how I like to play it. Simply, and I know in Elves it's probably easier to play than a lot of other decks, because in a lot of decks you can't really come out as fast or as strong as Elves do. So, I mean, and yeah, Elves can totally, probably out-creature most tribal decks, especially with the, Imperious Perfect's another one that I didn't put in because I don't have another copy. Imperious Perfect's a good card. Well, all of those Elf champions are. I use the Battle for Zendikar normal lands because, they only made the full arts. And that way, yeah, I do Riffle Shuffle on occasion. Just trying to get I foresee this deck actually getting played, so sometime soon. Because there are times, where you just want to creature it out. Okay, so, almost forgot my warrior tokens for my prom. I try to keep the tokens in there, the ones that I need. But that is it for Kaysa. And I know it's super weird. I'm all tilted. Anyway, 493 is done. It's super weird that it's not Eldraine, and we're in the middle of Eldraine season. I get it. But, it is what it is. The 3 I have left are Sir Eleonora, Kenrith, Emery. It seems like there's more than that. Urticrosis frames. Anyway, I'm just burning seconds now. Burning minutes, I'm sorry. But anyway, that's all I've got for Kaysa. It's just a good old-fashioned mono green elf build. Her creature type of elf druid was kind of what led me in that direction. And I'm like, all these druids produce mana. Hey, that enchantment that makes land not produce colors. And then I was like, hey, that elf that steals all the, so is it elf mana denial? I guess, possibly. Yeah, I can see that happening. But anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching, and y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we'll shuffle and cut.